one thing that was really interesting was the teachers that came out. Those were not full-time teachers, so as you see, they were really experienced traders who trade in the market and they have a passion of teach. So in that way, it really was intriguing because those guys know what they are doing also. So if they are seeing something in the market which might not have happened, like there are books that are there out there, they might have not mentioned events and which they saw today in the market itself. So they can share that insight also. So they can not only tell us about what has already happened, they can also tell us about what is currently happening in the market as well. So with the changing technologies and things like that, this is something that is happening. This might work, this might not work, or things like that. Something which is different from what anybody can know. My name is Pratik Duvania, and I completed my engineering BTech in Electrical and Electronics from Manipal University, Manipal Institute of Technology. And from there onwards, I'm actually currently pursuing actuarial science I'm pursuing actuarial science like, as of now. With it, I'm working as a code developer for a company called Shania.com. So that's about it from the professional side, and yeah, that's about it. Hobbies, I usually like playing poker, chess, strategy related. So that's where the interest is more towards. Like I'm more inclined towards strategy related games and
Ah,
things where
nice.
I'm more like, yeah, things like more where I'm more have to think and rather just do things. So those sort of things really interest me. So the frequency of playing poker and playing chess increase. That's it, to be very honest, because these are also things that you can do at your home, like just sitting and doing. So the frequency of the games that I've been playing, the hours that I've been putting in earlier was now during the pandemic, so it increased by twofold or threefold actually. So
Wow.
earlier you were busy, you would go out and things like that, but now it just
Mhm,
increased. So because you don't have anything else to do apart from those
mhm.
things. So during the lockdown, during the lockdown, the market was never closed, right? So during the lockdown
Yeah.
also, it was the same duration, the schedule didn't change specifically. The major impact could be about after the market closes. So communication wise, there has been a little gap. So even though we could connect via Zoom and Google Meet and those sort of things, but the presence did affect a little bit because sometimes it could happen after the market, someone goes somewhere and they are not available at that time due to a call or something, and the employee couldn't or they could not stop working or there needed to be something to be done and those sort of things. So that presence did affect a little bit. But other than that, to be very honest, from the professional side, the work schedule didn't change a little bit also. It was the same 9:15. You have to be on the machine, and by 3:30 you have to just be there, and you have to eat your food at the desk only and everything. Those sort of things really didn't change. It was just that communication wise, it did affect a little bit. And since we are all involved in the markets, and a little mistake actually costs a lot than what would happen in any other field. If it's
Mhm.
you're in an IT department or any other department, a mistake can be overlooked. It can be considered as a mistake, but in the financial markets, you pay heavily, right? For even small mistakes, you do end up paying heavily. So those things
Right.
were a little bit of a challenge. To be very honest, I was placed in a trading firm itself from the college. So our college, the companies that came for placement, so I got placed in a trading firm itself.
Oh
So I
wow.
was placed in the seven. Yeah, so I did work as six months or 5 months as a trader as well. So I was placed in my seventh semester. I was placed as a trader in a trading firm. So just to get a head start or jump start, you can see. So I was looking into courses which was more focused towards the financial markets and the things related to that. So algorithmic trading was something that I found during that time. So during my research and everything, I found that the EPAT was one of the best courses that was available in India. And
Mhm.
also the price range that I was willing to spend for a course and things like that. So it matched perfectly, I can say, because both of the things were available. Like the courses, the content of the course was also good, and
Mhm.
financially wise also, it was not too expensive. It was not too extravaganza, you can say. It was well
Mhm.
priced, and so things like that. And also we were getting as a student, since I was still a student, so we were getting benefits in that also. So it made it feasible. So because of that, and also algorithmic, so I was actually placed as a manual trader. So I was just looking for financial markets. But algorithmic trading really, like in my research, I found out algorithmic trading. So which really piqued my interest because I was more interested into coding, but I didn't want to take it up as a career when I joined my college. That's why I took up electrical and electronics engineering. Actually, I was more into things that made me think and made me challenge and myself and things like that. So I was not into too much trading wise because like it really didn't hit my radar, I can see. So poker, chess, these things did hit my radar when I was growing up and things like that. But trading really didn't hit my radar in that way because the people that I knew, they did trading more on an intuition based than doing, technical analysis
Mhm.
and things like that. They would just, if somebody told to buy some stock and they would just end up buying the stock. So like my
Right, right.
own family, my father used to do that. So it really didn't hit something like that. Okay, it could be this challenging as well, like beating the market or making the analysis and getting a trade right. These things can be giving will give you another kind of a rush or something like that. These things really I didn't think about these things while growing up. So when I got into trading and everything, so that is something that I realized that this is something that I really want to do at the end of the day. So I might like chess, I might like poker and things like that, but trading is something which I really want to take it up as a professional life as well. To be very honest, if I would have been placed, if the starting point wouldn't have been a trading firm, I don't think so. I would have made a career switch. To be very honest, so I would have been whatever firm that I joined initially. I would have been into that domain and continuing doing that only. But since it was lucky, I was really lucky to be honest that I was placed in a domain which gave me a good starting point because I joined in as a hire, like the company hired, pleased, I got pleased. So, people over there, they actually took out time of their busy schedule to teach you stuff and things like that. So, in that way also, it was not a teacher teaching, it was a person who's doing it in a daily purpose, who's earning money and doing things. That person is coming out and teaching you. So, I feel that makes a huge difference because he's not only up to date with the current trends, what is happening, he knows the in and outs of the market. Whether he's making money or not, that's a different thing. But he knows the in and outs of things. He knows what is correct and what is wrong. Even though you're making money, but the way you're doing is wrong, is at the end of the day wrong also, right? Irrespective of
Right,
the
right,
fact
right.
that you made money. So in that
Absolutely.
way, I was really lucky to. So yeah, so in that way, I was really lucky that I got placed, and the people who taught me were really helpful, and they were really knowledgeable also. So I was doing my research. So like I said, when I got placed to just to get a head start with other people who were joining with me and things like that, or just to get a basic idea before joining. So I was doing a lot
Mhm.
of research as to courses which offer, you know, give some courses which are very financial markets related. So things like that. So over there, algorithmic trading came into picture. So I thought manual trading is something which I will be taught in the firm. So if I have an algorithmic trading knowledge as well along with it, because I knew Python, I knew C++, I knew basic Java as well. So it
Mhm.
wasn't like I was starting from very like starting point. I was somewhere in the race, but not exactly towards the finish line as well. So I was somewhere there. So I look into algorithmic trading and things like that. So when I joined, like when I was researching more about Contingency, there were a couple of people, couple of alumni which also I spoke to. So there was this one guy, I forgot his name, but he was also an engineer. So we had a similar background to me. He actually graduated from my college itself. And
Oh wow,
so,
what a coincidence.
yeah, right. So they gave me his number and I connected with him on LinkedIn. And he also gave me some insights about contingency and the EPAT, the course that was being offered. So I got really positive views from him that it's a
Mhm.
good course and everything. So the one thing that he basically said was that courses are good or bad. It depends on how well you take it. So if you are really good at grasping and adapting to things, then it will be a really good helpful to you because one thing is the courses and the other thing which is really important is the placements that they offer. So they offer a lifetime placements and The companies which come into it also are specifically looking for the things that they are be teaching. So in that way, it will be really helpful for you if you take up the course. So this is what was
Mhm.
the basic thing that he said. So which is really made sense to me at that time. That even if the trader part doesn't work out, I can still end up working as algorithmic trader also. So that is something which really helped me. So so that is something which made me more inclined in taking up the course of quant industry like EFAT in general. So, honestly, I really didn't have any expectations starting off a course. I just wanted to start fresh. So, expectation wise, I really didn't have any expectations, particular expectations that I can think of as of now. So, in terms of challenges and the courses, actually, one thing that was really interesting was the teachers that came out. Those were not full-time teachers, so as you say, they were really experienced traders who trade in the market and they have a passion of teaching. So
Mhm.
in that way, it really was intriguing because those guys know what they are doing also. So if they are seeing something in the market which might not have happened, like there are books that are there out there, they might have not mentioned events and which they saw today in the market itself. So they can share that insight also. So they can not only tell us about what has already happened, they can also tell us about what is currently happening in the market as well. So with the changing technologies and things like that, they can tell us that this is something that is happening, this might work, this might not work, or things like that. Something which is different from what anybody can know of. Like today, if someone is not enrolling into EPAT and they are just reading the books that are being recommended by EPAT, there will be still a huge difference between the people who enrolled because the teachers that are there, they're teaching you, they're explaining things to you in a very different roundabout way than what you can learn out there from other people. That was one thing which was very interesting for me because the teachers were experienced. They were full time traders as well. Along with teaching, they were full time traders. Their first job was trading. So that was something which was really helpful because if I had some doubts which was not even in the course, which was outside the course, something that I had doubts, so they could explain it really well. They knew what they were doing, sort of a thing. And in terms of challenges, honestly, I knew coding, so I didn't find so the courses that they taught and the technical indicators that they were explaining, or the projects that we were getting, the exams that we were giving, or so in that way, I really didn't find anything difficult coding wise. But I know a couple of people who did do EPAT who didn't know coding. So honestly, from what I heard from them was even after the classes got over and they had some doubt and everything. So even the support team that was there, so we were assigned an individual support team, right? A person who would
Mhm.
like help us to connect with the teachers and all. So I think that
Right.
was really nice, right? So that was really nice because if I had certain doubts and everything, and which I wanted to talk about and things like that, he could really connect with the teacher and all, ask what time I'm available, and then connect with the teacher that whether it's feasible for him or not, and things like that. So that was something which was really helpful because if I would have just been contacting the teacher, then it would have been really hectic for me also. So that responsibility was taken away. So that was really nice, I feel, because in that way I don't have to worry about when the teacher is available and things like that. It was just I need to tell him that I have certain doubts in this topic and I want to talk to this teacher. So and then everything else was taken care of. So I was just focused on learning and getting my doubts cleared basically. I think the support team was a really good initiative at that time, I feel, because most of the other things that I have seen is there are two, three support teams and for a batch of say 50, 60 people. So each person has a lot of students to cater to. But over here, I think there was five or six support team for the same amount of group. So the people that each individual is looking reduces, so the attention is not getting divided also in that way. I think that was really
Mhm.
good from Condensi side, which I really found very helpful to be very honest, because there have been a lot of times where I was really confused and I didn't know, and I could just talk to him, and the response from his side was also nice. It was very quick actually. So the placement team actually, since I've been more connected with the placement teams. because I've been actually placed thrice through EPAD itself. So the placement team actually have been really helpful, to be very honest, because they have been very professional also. And so if I mail them or if I call them during work hours, I don't think so. My call has never went unanswered, or if they're busy at that time, someone or the other did pick up. And but I was, I think, for the last couple of years or something, Jumana was only the person who I connected with from the placement team and everything. So I think she is one of the best persons to be there in the placement team, to be very honest. Because so there is this incident which I remember, which happened when I got placed the first time. So I was placed the first time with Dravinity as an intern. I interned there for 3.5 months, I think. 14 weeks was duration, I think. So in that, the stipend that they were offering was 12,000, okay, at the starting. And since I was just a college, I didn't even graduate at that time. So I just, without thinking twice, and it was an on-site job. So basically, I had to relocate to Mumbai and then work from there. So I didn't think twice, and I just said yes to them. But actually, Zumana negotiated with the company, and she got me a 3,000 extra stipend. So which was really nice of her, and she didn't really need to do it, but she still did it. So I think in that way, she's really good because she not only thought about the student, but she also thought about, like, she not only thought about the company getting pleased, student getting pleased, but she also thinks about the students who are getting pleased as well, that they get a fair amount of stipend or the compensation that the company is offering. So that was really nice of her, I feel. And I do think that it's worth mentioning, to be very honest. So, in terms of preparations, to be very honest, since it's just the normal work to work only, so if I'm doing, I feel it's more company, just the name of the company is changing and things like that. Otherwise, the work related thing is normally the same. That you need to get up, you need to code, you need to, establish certain rules and then take the trades on those things. So in that way, it's more or less same. So interview preparation wise, I don't think so. I did much detailed preparation or something like that because the questions that was being asked also was very related to the work that I was doing. They were more interested in the work that I was doing rather than asking me basic coding questions or things like that. Because I think if you tell them that what you have been doing, they kind of reject. I mean, no, the questions that they want to ask, the basic questions. It's just quite understandable that the person knows about it, and then only he can be doing the next level steps. Otherwise, so preparation wise, honestly, I didn't do so much of a preparation for the job interviews and all. So if you're talking about the companies that come for placements, which I wouldn't find out if I was just without the placement team. So in that sense, yeah, it makes a lot of difference because if I'm someone who is not enrolled to EPAT and if I just try to go out finding an algorithmic trading job, because I feel it's still a niche market, it's not
Mhm.
too extensive. So
Yes.
in that way, there are a lot of companies who specifically come out looking for an algorithmic trader or something like that. And even if they go have a vacancy or something like that, they would prefer going to a college or coming to some courses that they have tie-ups with, like EPAT or something like that. They would rather go over there and find get the vacancies filled instead of posting it on LinkedIn or something like that. So in that way, it's a marketplace, you can see that, where you get whatever you want or whatever field you want. So even if it's a job offer which looks for other things and you think that okay, this doesn't exactly match my skill set, so I can wait for other companies. So that waiting period and that phase where you also have a option to not apply to a company is there with EPAD and Contingency, which I wouldn't have the luxury of doing it if I was trying to find it out on my own basis. Like if I was just trying searching LinkedIn or I was searching other job sites and things like that, I wouldn't have that luxury that that okay, this company doesn't exactly suit my needs or the pay is too less, but if I leave this company, if I leave this offer, if I don't apply to it, I don't know when will I get the next offer. When will I get a company which is coming out looking for algorithmic trading itself. So in that way, it's really helpful that the offers are consistent. They somehow, if there are 10 offers, two or three companies might match your skill set, and you can apply. And the process is very simple of applying. You just need to upload your CV, and that's it. The rest of the things are being taken care of. So yeah, in that way, it's smooth. I can think it's a very smooth process of that instead of going and searching. LinkedIn or other networking sites on your own and trying to find out. So so I feel algorithmic trading is a branch of trading itself. It's a evolution of trading nowadays. So I feel trading is one field where if you don't have a passion for it, you cannot do it. That's the bottom line. Like that is one thing which I feel everybody will agree on. That this is one domain, this is one field where if you're not interested, you will end up paying heavily. That's the one thing which everybody will agree on. That if you're not interested, if you're not concentrated all the time, if you're not dedicated, and if you don't have a passion for it, you cannot survive in this field. Like it's not something like you can skate through life. There are some jobs where even if you're not working enough, but you just somehow skate through life, right? That is something which is not possible in this field. You have to have your own dedication. You have to have your own drive. There, other places the manager might push you, meet a deadline or something like that. Those things are not over here. You need to set your own deadlines. You need to meet your own deadlines. You need to meet your own targets. That's it. Like there is no hierarchy over here or something like that. But you need to be dedicated. You need to be very passionate about this field. Otherwise, it's not possible.